For over 50 years I've been working in the science of crop production, and my passion has always been about increasing wildlife alongside profitable agriculture. In this series I'll be exploring practical ways that farmers can reduce their carbon footprint, make best use of pesticides and help bring wildlife back to their farms. Let's talk hedges. There are 700,000 kilometres of hedge in Great Britain. That's 1.5 times the distance from here to the moon. But I recently read an article that said less than half the hedges are considered to be in good order, and that figure drops on arable land. I'm on a farm in Oxfordshire. I'm going to meet with Joe Staley from the UK Centre for Ecology and Hydrology, who's going to talk to me about how we can improve hedgerow management. So Joe, why is hedgerow management important?
So hedgerow management really affects the wildlife that uses the hedges. They provide food, they provide habitat and shelter. We know in the spring and summer there are lots of butterfly and moth caterpillars that feed on the leaves and other insects. Then we also get the flowers in the spring, which are really important for the pollinating insects. And then here at this time of year, you can see lots of hawthorn berries here. And these are really critical for birds and overwintering mammals and other wildlife because they provide food for them in that hungry gap when it's very cold in midwinter.
So Joe, there seem to be different times you can cut. Give me some advice on that.
Yeah, so a lot of cutting takes place in the autumn, but we have found that it can be better to cut in January and February. These berries that you can see here are left on for December, January when the birds and the other wildlife need them. The other thing to think about is how often you cut. So if farmers are able to leave their hedges, we found that if they're cut every 2 years, there's about 1.5 times as many berries. If they're cut every 3 years, we found 3 times more berries. And we also found more of the caterpillars, or the butterflies and the moths, and we found more flowers for the pollinating insects the following spring as well.
So Joe, in reality what I see is farmers cutting hedges quite hard every year.
Yeah, absolutely. That is the typical management that you tend to see. In fact, coming in here, I spotted one just on the way in. Shall we go and have a look at it?
Oh yeah, no, let's do that.
So this is a typically cut hedge, Marek, and what you find is over time you get this knuckle formed where the hedge has been cut back every year. That can result in gaps in the hedge where you've had some die back.
Well, it looks as if it's dying. How do we do a better job? How do we avoid this?
There is another way to cut hedges, and in fact I can show you that back at the farm because that's going on this morning, Marek.
Oh yeah, let's have a look at that.
So this is the hedge that's just been cut, and it's what we're calling incremental trimming. So it means each time the hedge is cut, about 10 centimetres of the recent growth is left on. So rather than cutting hard back to the same line over and over again, the hedge is allowed to get just a little bit bigger and a little bit taller each time it's cut. And as a result of that, you can see there's no stress knuckle here, Marek.
And we've still got the berries?
Absolutely. So because this recent growth is left on, the berries are still here. We've got some ivy, we've got some hawthorn berries, and that's great for the overwintering wildlife.
I can hear many farmers saying that the hedge is going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. At some point, I'm going to have to reset the clock. How do we go about that?
So we do know that slightly wider and taller hedges are great for wildlife, but eventually, as you say, farmers may want to bring them back under control. There are lots of options for that. Some of the common ones are coppicing a hedge.
Taking it off at ground level.
Absolutely, encouraging regrowth from the base. Bring in a circular saw to reshape it, and you could do that maybe every sort of 10 to 15 years.
Something, Joe, we haven't mentioned, and I know it's a hot topic at the moment, is carbon.
Yeah, absolutely. There's lots of interest in carbon storage in hedges, and they can store carbon both above ground and in the soil below the hedge. Something like incremental trimming, where you're letting the biomass accumulate, that would be good for carbon storage.
Joe, that's been brilliant. It seems to me some very small tweaks can make a huge difference. It's been a cold morning. I suggest we now go and have a bowl of soup or something.
Absolutely.